All right. Stream is running. Don't hush. Stream is running. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make the hole that's on the top of your passenger section. So we're gonna have to kind of sort of ish. We're gonna kind of sort of ish use our brains here. Okay. We cannot take out the plastic piece that has the shapes in it, but we can nevertheless get an idea of like how far down the wood surface is, right? Okay, easy. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna click on Sketch, and you're gonna click on the top of your whatever you've already made. Yes, we're good? All right. And then I am going to actually click on the top of the view cube because I feel like it just makes it easier. You know, I'm sketching on here, right? It's going to make it a lot easier to do this. Now, we're going to operate on some assumptions, okay? One of the assumptions we're going to operate on is that this hole is centered this direction. You understand? Yeah? We're going to assume that it's symmetric. Now, it may not be perfectly symmetric, but it's probably more due to just like discrepancies in manufacturing than actually deliberately off-center. Does this make sense? Yeah. So when you are making measurements, sometimes you kind of have to operate on some assumptions like it's probably supposed to be symmetrical. Okay? So we're going to draw a rectangle, and we're going to draw it so that it is forced already to be on this like center line. If you're wondering what that center line is, okay, well, it's this plane that's running through. And why is there a plane running halfway through? Because when we designed this originally, when we did this rectangle, right, we put this center on the origin. So this is why making use of symmetry from the very beginning and save you time later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a center point rectangle. Yeah? And when I draw it, I am actually going to place the center on that line. Now, to be very clear, it is not actually locking the center on that line, which is actually a plane. If you know what a plane is, right, you look at a plane like this is a line, right? But if I put my cursor there, whenever you have a snap to, you might see a gray square with some black symbol in it. So when you are sketching, there are these things called constraints. And constraints constrain the parts of your sketch. And generally speaking, if you use them intelligently, they save you a lot of time. This constraint, which has a vertical line, is what's referred to as a vertical constraint. It recognizes that I'm placing it very close to being aligned vertically with the origin. And if I do place it while that symbol is there, it will automatically apply that vertical constraint. Now, if I don't want a vertical constraint, that's bad, right? But typically, when you are doing these things, you place things close to what's automatically going to apply the constraint because you want the constraint, right? So I want this vertical constraint, and so I am going to actually click and place the center of my rectangle aligned vertically with the origin. And I want to make sure I get that vertical constraint, and then I'm just going to place the sides, you know, kind of whatever. And because I did that constraint, you'll notice if I grab the corners here, I can still resize the rectangle. But notice that it only moves vertically. It does not move side to side because it's constrained on that line. If I grab the center and try and move it, I can slide it up and down. But because it's vertically constrained, I cannot move it like horizontal. You understand? Yeah. It's constrained to be on that line. More precisely, it's constrained to be vertically aligned with the origin. Do we understand? Yes, yeah. And actually, if I click on the center, you can see the constraints. You can see that there is actually this vertical constraint right there. That's what that vertical line means. And I actually don't do this, but I actually can click on that and delete it. And now my rectangle is free like the antelope. Okay? We understand? Yes, yeah? So if you ever are sketching and you're getting issues, like things you think should be able to move, don't move the way you want them to. It might be because when you sketched it originally, you accidentally applied some of these snap to auto constraints. Okay? So sometimes the simplest solution is delete it and redraw it. Okay? Now, we are going to make several measurements. First off, you need to understand what is the front of your car and the back of your car. So for me, the gap is closer to the front. Okay? So I'm going to measure that distance. I'm going to measure that distance. Okay? And we get about 19.2 or 3, somewhere around there.
So we're the battery out.
Okay, about 19.3 for me. So when you are dimensioning from one thing to another, okay, look up here. If I want to dimension how far this bottom edge is to the front of the car, I click on the dimension tool. I click on this line, okay, and then I click on this other line down here, and now it's dimensioning between the two. We understand? Yes, yeah? Okay. I am going to do the same thing for the side. I want to measure how far it is from each side. And I'm going to kind of just ballpark, I want the number, it's going to be the same for each side. So, on this side it looks like it's about 15.4. Over here is about 15.6. I'm going to say 15.5. Okay? So measure both sides, kind of average it. All right? For me, it was 15.5. So, same thing. I'm going to dimension from this edge to this edge. Y'all are weird. I believe that. That I believe, 100%. 100%. Okay. So, now what we do? Well, I actually already have the entire width taken care of. Because if I measure how far one side is to the edge of the car, like the very edge of the car, and then it's also automatically like symmetric, right? Then the width is taken care of. But this height part, we still got to measure manually because it's not symmetric this way. There's two ways I could do this. I actually could straight up measure how far the top is from the edge. You could do that. Or I can measure how wide this hole is. We're going to measure how wide the hole is because I want you to know how that's done. So if you look at your caliper, the teeth on the top, their straight edges are on the outside. This is for measuring interior things. So when I go and I put my calipers inside, all right, then the small teeth, they go up against the insides of this cavity. And you can get a ballpark size of it. I'm getting about 50.5, somewhere around there. Or wait, I lied. That was the width. I don't measure the height. I lied. I did lie. I lied. My bad. Okay, my height, I'm getting about 40.6. You get what you get. They're not all going to be the same. Maybe 40.5. 40.5. 40.5. And you'll notice now everything is black. which means everything is fully constrained, and that is good. That's a good thing. Oh. We have any questions? Yes, sir.
Parker.
Like the whole height of the wood block should already been taken care of when we made the original extrusion, right? So you shouldn't need that to make this whole. What did you do?
His is
Bring it here. Let's look at this modern art. Bro, dude.
Yeah, that's our school.
bro. Chris Medlock.
So it's over constrained.
Cyrus. Yeah, that's the best
it.
one.
So
Oh my god. That's crazy. Why?
you dimension the width. Your dimension should be dimension the height.
Why is
Look,
that?
Sean, it's not Sean.
No way, Sean's.
Because you guys have dimensioned the width twice. Well, you can't give it two different numbers.
That is. That is.
All right. Now we're gonna round the corners. Hey, Dylan, hush. We're gonna round the corners. You're gonna just ballpark how big those quarters are. I don't, you know,
They're round.
just they're round. That is true. Ballpark it. No, I'm gonna like somewhere around 4. I don't know.
This thing get red. What did you do? I don't know. You made it all red. I made it all red. That's what I. Parker did that too.
4.2.
What do
I'm
you fix
going
it, Parker?
4.2. If you want it to be fixed, you want help, you gotta bring it up here. I ain't going to you. You gotta go to me. It's only one of me and a lot of you. So fill in these corners.
Here. I don't know what to do.
You need to pray. That's what you need to do. Pray more. Need more Jesus.
Yeah, Harry, go find Jesus.
Okay, well you dimension the width.
Yeah.
But you got the width dimension twice because if it's centered here, and you tell me how far it is from this edge, you can't then also give me a width. They're gonna be deflating. So delete this 50. Yeah. If your stuff is red, is over constrained. You're giving two constraints that logically cannot be met at the same time. We understand?
Oh, hold on.
Harry, you should bully James into saying I'm a 3D printer. He is a peer tutor after all.
Okay, so yesterday when I tried to like run a print, for some reason it just ran. So we ran like a my print, and the original there was a test print on there. So when you started to run it, it just started doing like printing the test print. So we're like, oh, there's a tomorrow issue.
L, actual L.
All right, James, you want to go work on this? Let's go.
I believe you, James.
What?
James, I'm gonna edge.
Otherwise, you're gonna start cleaning and organizing stuff.
I'll do the 3D printer.
That's what I thought. We can make Jayla do the cleaning and organizing. I actually think Jayla will be really good. She's pretty legit. Okay, now you are done. You can finish this sketch. You can finish this sketch. So you click the green check mark.
Wait, how do you?
Now, I want to make sure that we're all very clear about something before we get too much memeing and trolling going on. You should see over here exactly 2 sketches and 1 extrusion. If you see any more sketches than 2 or any more features than 1, you've done goofed. So I want you to understand something. Now that we have more than 1 sketch, if you exit out of a sketch accidentally, you go back and you edit the sketch you were working on. You don't make a new sketch, right? Like, if I'm not done with this sketch, I go over here and I double click on it and I go back into it and I edit it. What I have found a lot of students do is they exit out of the sketch, they don't really know why or how they did, and instead of editing that sketch, they just like make another one. And then there's like all these sketches and they don't know which one's which. And part of what they want in one sketch and part of what they want in another sketch, and you can't, that does not work. We understand?
Don't touch my legs.
As he smiles. Okay. So we're gonna extrude. And when I extrude or do any features, I usually want to look at angles so it's easy to see what's going on. So I'm gonna click on extrude. Easy. Now, the first thing it's gonna have you do is it's gonna have you actually choose a tab. You may not have realized this was a choice, but there's actually these tabs here. New, add, remove, and intersect. Let's just go with remove. Okay? Because we're going to be cutting material away, right?
Right.
So we're going to click on remove. And the second choice is actually choosing a sketch. So faces, sketch regions to extrude. All right? Hover over the thing we just made. And click on it. Now, how far down should you go? So, if you look at your calipers, when you open them up, okay,
Oh, this thing?
this thing sticks out. Basic logic, if the teeth are 2 inches apart, this will have stuck out 2 inches. This is called your hole depth gauge. And you use that to measure the depths of holes. Now, what we're going to have to do is look at your shapes. You want to find a place where you can go all the way down to the wood, and it's very close to an edge or a lip. Because what you're going to do is you're going to actually have, if you can see what I'm doing, the frame of the caliper should be resting on the lip. That's how you get an accurate height measurement. Okay? So I got about 29.4.
Oh my god. Fine.
29.4, 29.5, somewhere around there. Okay? We understand how to use this thing? Yes, we're good?
Yep.
It's not perfect because some holes are thinner than that, but it is what it is. So that's how far we will cut into the material.
What I do is I went to the square. Oh, you're smart. Because it has that.
And now I just click the green check mark and I have cut out my hole. Easy. Easy.
Looking nice, dude.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's have a color. You know, like same color, man. This is later. The wheels are gonna be we can just come. Let's just show you how.
Wheels
Do we have any questions?
Mine won't.
Yeah, ours are really fun. Just a try, you know.
Any questions? We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, you're
Okay. Now,
Full class for today.
if you look at the sides, alright, here's the thing. It was pretty easy to get all the way to the wood here, and we can just make another part of this plastic thing. Even though we're not going to take it out, we know it's the second part. We can make another part of that. These, on the other hand, it's not impossible, but it's going to be tough to go, like, to get how far it is to the wood. But we can ballpark it. We can get close, right? We can get close. So what we're going to do is we're going to pretend like this plastic is not there. You're going to make a hole on each side. And it's going to basically be the exact technique that you just used to make that one. They're not the same size. Well, maybe they are.
So we just have 4.
I don't know that they're actually the same size. They're not the same size. They're close, but they're not the same. Okay? So you're going to measure them separately. But they should be symmetric. They should be symmetric horizontally and vertically. We understand what I mean by this? Yes, yeah, yeah? So I'm going to do one of them. I'm not going to go very slow though. I'm just going to do it. Okay? But I'm going to do one of them. The one I'm going to do my front first. So I'm going to click on the front. And I'm going to sketch here. And you'll notice that the origin is already there, right? Yes, yeah. So I was going to do a center point rectangle on that origin. And then you do you, but for me, I feel like it's probably easiest just to measure how far it is from each edge. So about 9 that way. About, I don't know, maybe 6.4 that way. So I'm just dimensioning to the edges.
Funny, dude.
I know it's not funny. I'm just.
You smell like butter.
This actually might not be centered as much as I was hoping. Close enough. I think it's supposed to be centered. Mainly manufacturing error. And then you're gonna have to just ballpark how big those corners are. No, it's not easy. Just do your best. I'm gonna go 5 point.
What did Sean do this time?
Better not break that printer, James.
Well, it's having like a weird screen issue.
You are a screaming issue.
What do you mean?
Good one.
Like, it wasn't doing this yesterday, but like the screen will show up whenever we turn it on. So,
Well, that's why. Because he's in soul. Yeah.
I'm just doing one that's easier for this. Wait, you're getting that on the wrong side.
Nice picked up, man.
I was like, Dom. Yeah.
This is on.
Oh my god. This is the first stuff.
On mine, it looks damn near the same. Oh, log me out of it.
We did the rest of yesterday.
Well, just because it looks the same doesn't mean it is the same. The time we got is bad,
How are we supposed to do the
I am having a star.
Wait, how do we look, it's literally the same phone.
I guess you're gonna.
No.
I'm hoping.
Don't we have blood for it?
Nah. Slow.
Really?
We down, buddy.
Like, did you do anything to this?
No, wait.
There are some fuses that can be blown around certain parts of the wall, so that'll. That's a serious problem.
Oh, it's an ancient plugging the wall.
Yeah.
Table plugging the wall.
I would plug this and that. And then plug the cable. I think it's sorry. I'm not going to fix this issue. That's the So I agree. I'll look up. we did have a grounding, and one of the specific fuses, and there are so many places in there, but I don't know how many places there are, and I don't know if that's even. But this panel to come off, something may have come out from there. Yeah, I would start researching, figuring out what it is, because that's a problem. So you should be able to get both those holes done. I'm gonna say for the depth. You might maybe be able to get to that wood. Like
Let me see that wood.
maybe. Maybe be like. It's gonna be at an angle though, which isn't ideal. You should call Sean and meme on him for breaking it.
Bro, you're calling him too? How far did you guys get to a shoot?
I didn't.
Oh, you did?
Measure yourself.
Yeah, man.
Like, off my death.
Whoa.
The guy's thinking I'm kidding, but I'm not.
Why is it red? Yeah. What it is?
What?
Why is it red? That's what she said.
Wait, could that be what she said?
If it is, I will be really careful.
Problem, buddy.
Why is it red? That's I don't know. It's not normally red.
That's red. You fucked it up.
Yeah.
Got him there.
So the reason why it's red is it's over constrained. Trying to dimension things that are mutually exclusive or have constraints that are mutually like you can't be both vertically. You can't have it go like this way and this way, for example. It can't be both perpendicular and parallel or something. Those constraints are conflicting. That's just an extreme example.
So for these two blocks right here, do you recommend making them two different sketches or the same sketch?
By the way, I'm extruding mine. I'm just assuming that the plastic is like 2 millimeters thick. And I'm whatever hole depth I get, I'm just adding 2 to it. Okay, what was your question?
So with these two blocks right here, should I make that two sketches?
I'm just making these cavities.
Oh, you're making the cavities?
And I'm gonna make those separate parts.
Oh, okay.
So I'm ballparking how far down to the wood. I know how far it's down to the plastic. I'm assuming that plastic is 2 millimeters thick.
Oh, so we're not actually.
We'll make those later.
Okay, I measured it wrong.
Why don't you real quick, I don't know how much you've done, but make sure you rename things over here. Okay? Before you get too far ahead. So like I'm calling this the passenger hole. And then I'm gonna call the other one the front hole. Or you can call it a passenger cavity or whatever term you want to use. And then you can start putting your car away. Start putting your stuff away. Go to the sketch for it. You go into that sketch.
See, look at this. What is the magnitude of that?
Greg.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, put stuff away. It's Eagle Time Day, so.
Oh. Pop that and you'll see the issue. Yeah. Pop that. Long as take the battery.